Bueno, bienvenidos amigos de YouTube, ¿cómo dicen que les va? Acá Rojan. El video que van a ver a continuación, ¿sí? Es un stream que tuve con el señor Jihoz el otro día, ¿sí? Les recomiendo que pongan los subtítulos que están en YouTube. Con ayuda de dos muchachos que también los voy a dejar en la descripción, en los comentarios. Subtitulamos todo el video en español para los que no saben inglés. Pero les voy a poner un poco de contexto porque sé que muchos, la última vez que yo tuve un stream con Jihoz, me dijeron, no, Rojan, no le preguntaste nada de lo que le tuviste que haber preguntado, qué entrevista de mierda. Sí, y quiero que entiendan lo siguiente. Esto no fue ninguna entrevista ni nada por el estilo. El otro día yo estaba en stream jugando, me tocó contra él, terminamos, me dijo GG, yo le dije GG, hicimos unos tweets al respecto. Y después me mandó un mensaje y me dijo, Rojan, ¿querés jugar en stream la semana que viene? Tipo lunes o martes. Yo le dije, sí, genial. Me encantaría, o sea, yo debería estar preguntando todo esto a vos, pero que me lo preguntes me halaga, así que sale eso. Después intercambiamos mensajes y me dijo, si querés podemos hacer una especie de interview, algunas preguntas, lo que vos quieras. Una horita y media. Joya, listo. Abrí Twitter y dije, che, mándenme las preguntas que quieran y yo se las hago. Entonces, eso fue lo que estuvimos haciendo. Jugamos unas partidas, después hicimos algunas preguntas, charlamos un poco del meta. Después él me hizo un par de preguntas a mí y me dijo, che, nos juntemos el mes que viene y lo hagamos de vuelta, ¿ok? Esto es para que entiendan, ¿sí? Que fue un momento chill del stream, ¿sí? Que fue un momento en donde nos juntamos a charlar un poco y no fue como algo tan formal y tan le voy a hacer todas las preguntas que la comunidad quiere saber. No, fue algo más relajado, ¿ok? Ahora, para la próxima oportunidad me parece que es una linda oportunidad que tenemos en la comunidad hispanohablante para quizás buscar respuestas o aclaraciones de preguntas que a veces se nos cuesta conseguir, ¿sí? Sin más dilación, disfruten el video. Eso, abajo van a estar las timestamps para que elijan el momento que quieren ver, si quieren ir avanzando. Las partidas estuvieron muy buenas, se las recomiendo. Y pongan los subtítulos en español los que no sepan español. Gracias de vuelta a los dos muchachos que me ayudaron. Los voy a dejar abajo en la descripción para agradecerles. Y eso ha sido todo. Un beso para todos, disfruten el video y nos vemos en la próxima. Yo, what's up?
Hey, how's it going, man?
How are you, man? I'm nice.
Yeah, doing well.
Let me turn the music a little bit down. Okay. How are you, man?
Yeah, doing well. I feel good. I just ate. Yeah, I wasn't able to sleep last night because I was like too excited for the Ray Lights launch.
Yeah.
So I stayed up until like 4 a.m.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
3
also, I'm
p.m.
not sure,
where you are, right?
Huh?
3 p.m. there?
3 a.m.
Yeah.
I was like awake until right now it's like 3 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like a long night. But yeah, I feel excited. I feel happy that we launched. It was like pretty smooth. So
Yeah. How do you feel about Ray Lights? Do you feel that the community received it well, or?
I think, like, of course, like many people are excited to be able, you know, for the non-landholder gameplay as well.
Yeah.
So it's always like, right, like you have to balance, like, you know, giving some special utility to the asset holders while also making it accessible in the long run. So that's always like a difficult balance. But yeah, I think like I think one of the things that I see is like I see many people like collaborating and sharing the recipes and the codes together. So it's like very like collaborative and peaceful, right? And calm. And I see like that type of player archetype, whereas Origin's like very aggressive and competitive, right? So I think like, right, in order for us to reach our full potential, we have to attract we have to attract many different types of gamers, not just, you know, card game players, battlers, you know, things like that. So.
Yeah, that's some interesting way to play it, because a lot of people like to play games like following a guide or something. Like they want to just live the full experience, not just discover it, but they don't mind copying it. But I don't know, maybe a lot of people are gonna play Relates just copying other people's recipes and they're gonna enjoy it that way. So I think that's cool too.
Yeah, for me, I was like thinking like, should I look at the sheet or should I like just try to discover it myself? So yeah, I was thinking about that, and then you know, I think I've only been able to play a little bit so far. I only have 5 plans.
Me too. I play like at 10 minutes, but I only got five plans. But yeah, I think at some point it's gonna be like so many options that it's gonna feel maybe a little bit frustrating. So maybe that's when people are gonna start looking at each other's recipes to find some peace there. Sense. Okay, so we're gonna play some games today. You wanna how we're gonna do this? Maybe best of 3, best of 5, best of 5. The chat here is gonna make a prediction to use their channel points. So they're gonna bet if you or I win. How do you wanna do it?
Yeah, let's do let's do best of 5.
Okay.
Yeah, best of 5. Yeah, let's do best of 5.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
1 sec. Should I? Maybe I should go get my headphones. How is my audio?
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. You're right. It's okay. I have seen you playing rage comps in the last weeks. I know that that's not your area inside of Sky Mavis, but how do you feel about the comp? Do you think it's okay?
It's annoying that I have to use it. Like I always prefer to use, of course, like more control, or I just like reptiles actually. Like I just like to build teams around reptiles, and that's a little bit weak this season, I think, right? Like I think like one of the interesting things is like, okay, in order to get rid of crits, we introduced this rage mechanic, but it's kind of like we introduced like another monster into the system that's quite difficult to balance, of course, when something is auto crit plus energy, and it needs to be really carefully dealt with. So yeah, I think like right now it's clear that it's definitely like right now at least the dominant meta. And it can be quite hard to counter. Anything that gives crits and energy, like always in any game, I think it's you need to be really careful with it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, but, I would. I actually I know that they're looking into it too as well, and they have a lot of plans. I'm excited for season 2, the upcoming balancing patches as well. Yeah. I think that one of the things that I would like to see is more clear archetypes, like control, mid, aggro, and then even like it being viable to mix and match axes of different archetypes on different teams. Right now it's like 3 rage axes or 3 control axes, right? Yeah. Me, I will love to like see mixed teams being viable, right? And there are different ways to accomplish that as well. So
yeah, I made a video a few days ago where I talk about why I think maybe some healing teams or some rage teams are so powerful, and I came to the conclusion that the game rewards you for accumulating resources in the same direction, like full aggro or full defensive. Like when you build up all that resources one on top of the other, it just becomes too powerful. So I think that's where the challenge is for you, like how can you make that the cards are still viable, not just by accumulating full resources in the same way. So but in regarding to rage, I believe that the problem it's not the rage itself, but that Shiba and Confident gives the comp too much ways to enter rage in one game. Like a lot of games, rage teams enter in fury mode like 2, maybe 3 times. So that's why I think they are dominating in the ladder. But I think
Shiba at 75% health is too easy to proc.
Yeah.
I feel like either lowering it or making it less rage.
I think 12 rage.
That's from my civilian. I used to do like or do a lot of the balancing, right, for classic. But right now I'm like more removed from it, thankfully. So Yeah, like my civilian kind of opinion is like, yeah, I think like definitely I see this idea of like you get 3 axes that all like have complementary cards that gaining this that boosting the generation of a similar thing, right? Like rage or healing or even poison. Sometimes poison is OP. Right now it's not OP, but sometimes it is, right? Because it's like you can just get all these cards that all are geared towards boosting one thing, and that also makes it so that I don't know the teams kind of look like like 3 of the same type of axis, right?
Yeah. I think my team is gonna surprise you then.
What should I play?
Okay.
I think like you're gonna try to. What if you try to play the same thing as like my type of team?
I right now I have only one team prepared to play, but I can maybe set up some other team. But I'm gonna start with this, and we can change the entire 5 games. If you want to change your team, that's okay.
Okay, I came with a couple of teams because I came to the Axiecon thing, and I was like, oh, everyone just knows what I play, so I have to have some options at least.
Yeah, some surprises. Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready, let me know.
Okay.
I will invite you.
All right, let's go. All right.
Yeah.
Do we play RPS in this?
I'm not sure. I think that the one who invites goes first. No.
Oh,
yeah.
No, we did.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, I predicted it right. Like you're coming with the poison. This is a poison AOE team.
Yeah, poison AOE. Yeah.
Interesting.
I started playing this comp like a few days ago, and I reached top 500. Then I'm like top 2K, but it's actually super fun to play. So I am enjoying it.
Okay, let's see.
Okay.
I have regenerator, so that kind of helps against healing, against poison, I guess.
Yeah.
I just got it yesterday, actually. I'm still trying to figure out where to put it or how to use it, to be honest. But...
Did you craft it or buy it?
I bought it. I saw someone complaining that like, oh, regenerator is so cheap, blah blah blah. This guy is like undercutting me. So okay, like I'll just buy it.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, I like malediction. Okay. Oh, should I turn off my sound effects?
Yeah. We are receiving some. I don't know how to say it. Some. Yeah, the game sound, but that's okay.
I got it. Okay, I turned it off.
Okay. What do you think about Kotaro mouth? Some people find it kinda too powerful right now. I think it is not, because if you miss and you hit the same target, it's kinda you get behind in the game. But how do you feel about it?
I think that the penalty with it, I think anytime that there's kind of like a free attack or free energy, definitely have to be careful and closely monitor it. I think like, I mean, it's not as problematic in my opinion as some of the more free energy with less drawback options.
Yeah. So have you tried another alfajor?
Yeah,
the ones that
I have them. I'm trying to save them because you know you gave them to me like the last day, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of my teammates had left, so I'm trying to save them like for the next time that I'm able to hang out with them.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Wow. Yeah, Venom. So Venom Master and Yam is really strong together.
Yeah.
So usually before I had Regenerator, I had Venom Master on that Axie.
Yeah. Yeah, I have tried with Poison Touch in the back, in the front, with Malediction in the back, in the front, and I think this is the most powerful way to play this comp, with Malediction in front, because only with one stack of poison you get the entire 15% of reduction of damage.
Makes sense. Yeah, I have some ideas. I think I should put my Malediction in the front as well.
Yeah.
Honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I have seen some people playing Poison Touch in the middle too, so I think Poison Touch there is fine. But I will swap, if I were you, the Malediction with the Regenerator.
Yeah, I think I was trying to find a way to use Regenerator on this team, but it's not really working out exactly.
Oof. Yeah. This game is close.
I don't know, I think you have it.
Yeah,
oh.
GG.
GG, man, GG.
GG. Nice. Okay, good game. So let me check if I'm gonna change or not. Okay, so I have been saving the epic rune of the choice box, but I'm gonna use it now because I wanna play some other comp. Okay. Let me check. Okay.
Yeah, overall though, like I'm liking Origin a lot. I've been playing. I'm currently, let's see, where am I? I'm kind of 1821. I've been dropping actually, but I'm still challenger. I really want to try to make a push to at least top 1K. Why? Because I really want the avatar. Like that thing is so cool. I also like that, you know, we added these avatar borders. I think like some people might not know, but right, like the number one player, for example, like they get their own basically exclusive avatar border, you know, likewise with, you know, rank 2 to rank 10, they get their own like personal number. And then of course, like the sticker for top 1000. The avatar for top 1000. I really want that. So.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most the things that I'm waiting the most. I mean, running profiles, I think are gonna be like super, I don't know, like super sick, because being able to show like, look, I won like maybe season 0, season 1 in a few years. I think that having that kind of achievement maybe in your account, it's one of the most great things that you can have I think. But yeah.
Sure. I remember in like StarCraft and Warcraft 3, right? Like the avatar was always like so I don't know, it just told you so much about someone, right?
Yeah.
Like it can make you like inspire fear. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that I think we need more, like being able to show like what have I done in the game or in my time in the community. Maybe, I don't know, in the future when you will be able to show like, look, I read like, I don't know, 2000 axes or something like that. I think that's gonna be sick. Like I don't know. Maybe
I think like
showing
the badge system, achievement system, something like that. Definitely like gonna be really, really important for us to kind of pull off the right way.
Yeah. So look at my beast. I have been testing some breedings with Silent Whisper beasts with plant cards. I haven't been any luckier. I mean, my breeds didn't go so well, but I think, yeah, I think that maybe in the future we're gonna see more of this kind of beast where they like mix, because plant cards or plant potential points also give the ability to put health charms on it, so it's kind of the same, but I don't know, I think it's better.
There's only like, so if it has like you know, if it has 6 plant cards, does it have like full 15 potential points or no?
No, just 12. It's like 1 beast point from the class and 12 plant points. But I think 12 is more than enough to make a beast with Pangolin and enough health.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. Is this the same team that you played last game, right? But changing positions?
Yeah, I put the malediction up front. I put the regenerator on the other guy.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
This one is also getting close.
Yeah.
That was I got lucky with the Kotara, I guess.
Yeah.
Because that allowed me to apply all 10 to your Aqua. Ooh.
Oh no, the bloodlust healed me and pushed me out of the 50% health for the death mark of Axiecon. I thought I was gonna play death mark.
I see what you're saying. Oh, so is this gonna work? Okay.
Okay. Sounds like GG. Feels like, yeah, GG.
Nice, GG.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
Got the adjustment. Let's see.
Okay.
Nice.
Here people are asking if you ever play with maybe some Mystic Axie or
Mystic Axies?
Japanese. Yeah.
Yeah. So early in the season, I do actually, and I actually really like the early season because you can
play anything.
Yeah, it's more flexible. So I like that there are different meta environments as well, which the season structure allows for. So I think I've also heard some feedback. There's kind of two competing pieces of feedback that are kind of contradictory, right? One is the seasons are too long, and then the other one is around runes and charms expire, right? And they don't want to, it's difficult to get all these runes and charms or even buy these runes and charms, and then they expire, right? So there's a balancing thing, right? It's if the season is too short, then it kind of messes with the rune and charm system and the value there. If it's too long, then it's a little bit repetitive. People can just wait until the end, right? So I think that there are different solutions, right? I think I saw maybe even you suggesting that there should be a snapshot system. There could also be heavier DK for not playing, things like that.
Yeah, I think I actually like to month seasons because I am actually testing some comps out that I think if the season were 1 month length, I wouldn't be able to play this comp. I'm just testing and moving runes and replacing and swap axes, and I feel like I have time to really learn how to play this comp until the really competition begins.
I understand. It makes it so that there's still high stake. It's still real stakes, but there's not as pressure to be as hyper optimized, right? So.
Yeah. But I think that you can find that statements, the contradictions in there, because I don't know. I just feel like the early seasons feels nice because it's chaos. It's people playing whatever. And then as soon as the season starts to I don't know how to say it, when the season starts to become stable,
more fixed or stable, and people kind of know what the dominant metas are.
Yeah. You start seeing the same comps over and over, so it's that's when some people maybe get bored, but that's when you actually kind of learn how to beat them and how to counter them. So I think, I don't know, maybe
it makes sense. I think they've been doing a good job of balancing it for sure, and and testing it out. And think of it this way, right? This is season 1, and Classic went for 20 seasons, 20, right? So.
2021, yeah. So and also what I usually tell people is some comps in Classic were not born until season 20. So imagine what the game will look like in in a few years from now, maybe in a few seasons from now, I think, I don't know, that's kind of amazing to think about. Most of maybe the most powerful axes don't even exist right now. So there is a lot of comps that just can't exist right now because there is no axis to play them. So yeah, I think that's actually a great thing to look up in the future.
Makes sense. Yeah, I'm interested in like, are there like just random stuff that, you know, it must be, right? There has to be like random stuff that just gonna get discovered by breeders, right? So have to like leave it to the breeders. That's so interesting, right? Like it's like the arms dealers, right? Like, they can have so much of an interesting effect on the ecosystem. Let's see. I don't have my calculator with me. I'm gonna use Google.
I'm scared. I feel like.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, okay. I thought that there was rage incoming, but no. We can live another day.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I have like maybe 60 or 70% win rate against rage with this comp, because I'm able to kill the backliner Axie kinda fast. Oof. Okay. Okay. Let me grab my calculator. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna go this way. Oof.
No.
Oof, wow, that was really close.
Wow,
that was really close.
GG.
Yeah. GG. Oof. 2-1. I never lose the hope. Close.
I think I misplayed some there.
Yeah?
I'm not sure. I think so. I think like I could have. Yeah, I didn't
When
like
I
use my
shield up
rages
the
effectively.
front?
Yeah. I think I forgot about that.
Yeah. Okay, 2-1.
Otherwise, I could have just killed him with and gone in rage.
Yeah,
Okay.
but also, I mean, your backliner died with 9 charge of rage, so I think that was the reason why I won. I won. Okay, are you ready? I just send you. I don't know if you're gonna change.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm gonna go. Come on.
Okay. So 1.
All right, facing elimination. Okay. What should I prioritize here? This is my question. I like this AoE comp though. AoE poison looks fun.
Yeah, it's actually so much fun because, I mean, there is plenty of ways to prioritize things. Like I can prioritize poison, I can prioritize maybe AoE damage, I can maybe play to shield 3 times my front to extend the game. So I'm kind of learning what's the best way to play around it. But yeah, I'm having so much fun learning. Have you tried playing your backliner with pure power instead of reckless hunter? I have seen many people doing that because with reckless hunter you take 10% more damage, and maybe against my comp I mean you just that damage ends up killing you because you receive too much before you can get into rage, into fury mode.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Come on.
Okay, let me see.
This is pretty intense, actually.
Yeah. I'm
pretty
like
fun, man. I think
calculating.
we have good games against each other. It seems like. Come on. That was what you needed. Okay.
Yeah, but this is. I think this is GG. Super tough game. 2-2. Okay.
Okay. Redemption. Okay, so this is the rubber match, right? This is the...
Yeah.
What should I do? One sec.
Yeah, sure. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, final game. Ooh. Okay.
Do you know, like, I once tweeted that I always throw paper, right? And I threw paper every single game.
I don't even know what I used to play.
It's like an Easter egg, you know?
Yeah. I think I just play whatever, like random.
Try to be random, right?
Yeah.
I think I got a good hand to start.
Oh, nice.
Oh no! That's annoying.
Okay.
My middle Axie is like too tanky against the poison lineup.
Yeah. Oh. Regenerator cleans 2 debuffs. Wow.
Yeah.
I thought it was
It's nice,
1.
right?
2 debuffs. That's a lot. Well, I mean, it's a mystic room, right? But wow. Wow.
Misclick.
Okay. Now you start to heal up. So you don't cleanse. That's nice. Okay. Wow.
Hitting them.
Yeah.
Come on.
Feeling lucky today. Okay. Gracias, Margarita. This is intense, right?
Yeah.
Feels like I don't know
An interesting thing.
who's gonna win. Okay.
No way.
Wow. Does Wild Gecko reduce the poison damage?
No. I don't think no, it doesn't. It's just like pangolin doesn't reduce poison, right? So.
Yeah. Okay. Oof. Blood Moon. Oof. Oh shit.
What? No way. It's GG. Oh. Wow. Intense.
I thought you were gonna stay alive with like 2 HP or something. I miscalculated that. Nice. Oof.
That was yeah, close.
That was close. Nice.
We got it. Let's do this again. Like, no, seriously. Like, I felt like we would be good sparring partners. So
yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah. I mean, the last weeks, I have been playing like a lot of comps to start learning more about the game. I was playing healing teams. Now I'm playing this poison AoE, and maybe next week I'm gonna play some rage. So yeah, next time we battle against each other, I'm gonna have a few more surprises. But yeah, okay. So you have like 15 more minutes, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm free actually.
Okay. So, well, I have gathered a few questions from our community, mainly from Twitter and my Twitch chat yesterday. So if you're ready, I can start sharing with you those questions.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. I'm ready. It's been kind of a while since I did any Q&A. So.
Yeah, I remember last year when I joined Axie, seeing you answering questions maybe once a week or something. It was...
Yeah, I want to do more now. And, now that I'm not traveling, I want to travel to more streams with creators and stuff. So.
Okay. Well... Okay. So... Well, first of all, thank you to everyone that contributed with questions. Sorry if I didn't pick yours up, but I tried to be a little selective to talk a little bit about everything. So first of all, I wanted to ask you about Axiecon. It has been a few weeks since Axiecon, and we want to know, how do you feel about it? Like, do you still feel a little bit nostalgic, or how are your feelings about it?
I mean, first of all, like, I want to say, like, thank you to everybody who came to Axiecon. It was actually like a little bit nervous, I think, for the team, especially where some of them have never met the Axie community before, right? For example, like Trong, like our CEO, a lot of our team members who were there. And also, in terms of planning this, it was, we hadn't had many meetups before, but this was on a different level. And it was hard to know, like, oh, there's the bear market, it's in is in Spain. It's not like, oh, it's in Philippines where we have so many players. So it's a little bit hard to like know, oh, how is it gonna go? So but we were like really thrilled with the way that it happened. So, thank you so much to our community in Barcelona and Spain, our LATAM community, everyone who's traveled from South America, of course, everyone who traveled from America, Asia, but really this was for our LATAM community to show that like LATAM is really a priority for us in terms of our expansion, and yeah. So first I want to say like thank you, and I think like the impression that I got at Axiecon was like it felt like you knew everybody, right? It was like kind of the perfect size where you go around and you don't feel like there are too many strangers, right? Like you can easily start conversations with people. Most people are recognizable. It felt very intimate, and it felt like I think like a good size. And maybe like that will be the only Axiecon ever that ever feels like that, right? Who knows? So I think that was really special. Another thing that I noticed is that, like, people were saying like, oh, they were so sad to leave. Like because it was actually kind of long, right? It was 4 days, which made it kind of like, oh, we got into a routine where it's like, oh yeah, wake up, go to the venue, like do all the things, and then it kind of we got used to it. Like but by the 5th day, I kind of felt like, oh, I live in Barcelona now, right? Like I know all the places, and then when it ended and that routine that kind of built up got abruptly finished, it was actually kind of sad. It was, and I saw a lot of people saying it was kind of like leaving summer camp. If anyone ever left, been in summer camp as a kid or something like that. So I think like people felt really sentimental, and definitely people will feel nostalgic for it and kind of be like, thinking back to that first Axiecon, I think a lot of people will have fond memories of it. And yeah, I also like, I'll also say like, I feel sad that like, many players from Asia could not attend as well. One of the things too is like, I want to be like honest that like in the beginning, like we were thinking about doing it in Asia, just because, that's where the majority of the players are. But actually there was still COVID at that time. So we're like, okay, like where should we have it? And then we're like, okay, Europe is kind of central as well. And then like, it will be maybe familiar for our LATAM players and to travel. So that's kind of like how the calculus went.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you the day after Axiecon that we go to lunch together. I feel like you were like maybe a little bit sad and nostalgic, and we're like, I don't know.
I was so tired too. It takes a lot of emotional energy. Like maybe sometimes people might think that I'm like really extroverted because of the nature of my role and my job. Like, I'm always out there talking to people. But even me, like I would say that I'm extroverted, but like also like I need time to recharge and kind of be by myself or spend time with my wife as well. And so yeah, I think like also like those types of events can be really like tiring. Like I think like a lot of people in the Axie community, right? It's like we prefer to socialize online. Like that's one of the best things about Axie is like you can kind of be by yourself, but you can socialize and be in an environment with other people like on your own terms, right? To the amount that you kind of like choose. Axiecon is a little bit different because like you have FOMO, you want to go, you want to see everybody, and then you might like push yourself like beyond your limit in terms of talking and meeting new people, and I think it's good. It's sometimes good to push yourself and test your boundaries, but we also have to be thinking about that.
But what is also great is that now when I'm talking to anyone that I meet in Axiecon, I can now like use their face or their voice in my head when I chat with them, so that's kind of nice too, to have meet so many people from the community. Okay, so I'm gonna go with the next question. Okay, so Sambu from Twitter is asking, what are the main goals for the rest of the year? Is there any specific goal that you guys want to achieve? I know that you have been talking about this in Axiecon, but we wanted to know your personal perspective on this.
So what goals I want to achieve from?
In general, I mean, as Axie Infinity, do you aim to achieve something, or what are the main goals to finish this year?
Oh, sure. Well, so right now, I'm not sure if it's based on the year, but right now, right, like, here are some of the things that we find really important, right? Is like the rollout of Axie Infinity Origins and continuing to improve it and getting it ready to the point where we can start onboarding traditional types of gamers, either through performance marketing or right different initiatives where we're saying, hey, giving people Axies, so getting Origins to the point where we're getting and we're able to attract a new type of community member into the ecosystem, right? So I would say that that's, really, really important and really up there in terms of our goals and priorities. Of course, continuing to build out our team. One of the things that we're seeing is that, okay, now we're onboarding new game studios, right? If we want to, and there's a lot of work that comes from that, right? For example, we just had the Raylights launch, and that kind of created new things that we've never done before. If we want to attract different types of gamers, we have to do new types of experiments, like on the growth side, on the art side. There are many new products that we have to build, right? So we really have to continue to build out the team and hire amazing people. Of course, right, like another thing is improving the security of the Ronin ecosystem and the scalability. And so as many of you guys know, and as Alexander Psychout mentioned at Axiecon, we're currently also working on the Ronin upgrade to delegated proof of stake, right? Or DPoS or DPoA. Of course, and then after that, we're also talking to game developers, hope to make some announcements around that soon in terms of onboarding more game developers to building both Axie IP as well as building on the Axie chain. Of course, we also at Axiecon mentioned that we have a land alpha that will be rolling out to the community, so that's also taking up, and that's something that we're also really focused on and excited about. And yeah, so I think those are like kind of the big goals and priorities, I would say.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, now I have a question about the app stores. What is the current situation regarding Apple and Google Play stores? Is there any updates about this or global launch?
Sure.
What can you tell you about that?
Yeah, well, we are in the education process with both Google and Apple, right? I think that they have good intentions and they want to work with us. They want to find a path forward. They just, are very early, and this is a new technology that they want to make sure that their strategy is the best for their users as well, right? So, as technologists and entrepreneurs, and we also have to respect that they're learning, and this is something that like some crazy young kids made, and that they might not understand yet, right? So, Quinn or Smooch Axie also, right? Like he was in Singapore recently. He put out a tweet that he was at the Google office, right, educating them. So I feel really good about the progress there, and it is really important. I would also, keep an eye out on Phil's Twitter for maybe some news regarding going on app stores and the implications that might have for our products.
Okay, yeah, as far as I understand, you're waiting to launch the full campaigns of marketing until the game is in stores, right?
It's a combination of course we need to be on the app stores, and that will help a lot. And also the game has to be really great, really amazing. Yeah. And we think that it's on the way there. Definitely we're on the path there, and there's still work to be done though. And Origin just has so much potential that we think that we can improve it a lot. So.
Yeah. I think
Origins
so, too. Yeah. Okay. So I have another question regarding growth. We have seen an interesting growth in player base in the last weeks since Axiecon. How do you feel about this growth? It is what you guys have been expecting, or are we below expectations in player base?
Yeah, I mean, so right now is definitely a time where we're focused on improving the product, educating, right? Like really engaging with our current community and creating strong bonds between all the missionaries that are still in the community after a really hard time. After a lot of people got shaken out, scared, like a lot of the scared people, they kind of left, right? The people who get like triggered easily, the people who get scared and don't really have like a tough mentality, and don't have like kind of a stoic view on life. Like, it's actually sad for them, in my opinion, that, you know, but that it is what it is. Like, they have to we have to let them make their own choices, right? That's what crypto is about. That's what personal responsibility is about. That's what freedom is about, right? Freedom is responsibility. So yeah, we've definitely, like right now, it's about engaging with the current community, improving the product, and getting ready for the next wave of onboarding. But that said, we are really excited about what we're seeing. We have hit, 1.1 million downloads with Origins. The token economy is looking really balanced, right? And where I think there's over 10x more SLP is being used in the crafting system than being earned through the game, right? There's more of this focus related to the earnings aspect or the leaderboard, right? And this competition and esports, right? So it's migrating in the right direction, and the economy is being balanced, and the product is getting better, right? So definitely, it's not going to be a high growth time right now. That's just not in the cards, and we have to be, right, be like water, right? Like, we have to go with the flow of the current environment right now. We know how to operate in these environments. We've been in them. Like, it's kind of similar to like 2019, 2020, where we have the community that we have. Let's hang out and let's have fun with each other. Let's get really close, and let's continue to make the products better and get ready for the next wave. There always will be a next wave. Like, that's one of the things that you learn as you just stick around in crypto and go through a lot of experience. Is like, they're always gonna, like, the fundamental value proposition of the technology is so strong that it's gonna get bigger over time. In the meantime, let's just enjoy the journey and hang out and learn a lot together.
Yeah. I also think that most, maybe not most, but a lot of people that left at some point in this year or maybe last year, I think they're gonna come back eventually when they see all the progress that we're making. So
that's why it's important not to like bully them now or make fun of them. Like, they need to make their own decision. We cannot judge them. I cannot judge them, for example, because I've been in crypto since 2017. And if someone is in crypto for 1 year, then I cannot like imagine being in their mind unless I go back to like 2018. And I remember, it felt really bad. Life was actually really hard. If I was a different type of person, then I probably would have been like, it's better for me to just leave, right? But I'm someone who actually appreciate pain, and like, I like being in uncomfortable situations. Maybe that's not a good way to live. Sometimes that causes my life to be really hard, right? So sometimes like ignorance is bliss, right? Like, just like just staying away from hard things, living an easy life. For some people, that's a good way to live for them, and that's okay. So we shouldn't judge them for taking the kind of easy path.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a question regarding what you said a few minutes ago about SLP mint and burn ratio. The question goes, as you have announced, since phase 3, season 0, we have seen an 1 to 10 ratio between SLP mint and burn. Do you believe that we are on the right path here to balance the economy, or do you think that this could become a problem in the future? Because as we all know, right now there is like 45 billion SLP, I think, in supply. So right now it's not a problem, but maybe in the future it could become a problem. Too much burn. What do you think?
I think like we can say two things. We're on the right track, and the addition of runes and charms has been really positive development. But we have to keep improving. We have to keep making the game more fun. And if the game is more fun and we're adding new ways of engaging and new things to accumulate and collect and spend tokens on, then it's gonna work out, right? One of the issues was like, last year, one of the problems last year was like, okay, we know that the economy is imbalanced, but like runes and charms are coming. We knew that runes and charms were coming. It was just coming down the line, right? So I think like the way to be diligent about this and proactive is we have to make sure that, okay, we're not just only relying on runes and charms, right? Okay, now we know what are the next steps, right? We outlined those at Axiecon: cosmetics, level 2 parts, infinite games, right? So if we continue to execute on that roadmap, then we're gonna be able to be more proactive around the economy. Otherwise, what happens? Like the only way to balance the economy is to reduce rewards if you're not adding more sinks over time, right? Or making the game better over time. So I think like one of the good things is now we have a larger team. Our velocity that we're shipping at is increasing exponentially. Like if you plot like our Substack posts on like launch announcements, you can see that even in this year has been like insane in terms of like the output that we're producing. And of course, it's gonna get overlooked during a time where crypto is slow. That's what happens. But objectively, the rate of shipping has increased exponentially. So that is the best way to really like stay ahead of the economy, in my opinion, because otherwise, like, yeah, you just have to, right? Like you get into a situation where we were last year, where you're waiting for solutions that are coming in the future, and you just have to drop rewards, and that causes a lot of pain. So
yeah, are you guys planning on still expanding more employees in next year?
Yeah, I think we want to be steadily growing. And we don't like just slow and steady, right? Like a lot of companies, like NT projects, they're crazy. Like they're like, oh, during the bear market, they're like, oh, we need to fire everybody, fire like 30% of our employees, right? And then in the bull market, they're like, yeah, we're so rich, like we're gonna expand. Yeah. Like that's not stable. That's not a stable mentality. That's not healthy. That's not how you run a business, right? Like so I think our strategy is just okay. Don't get too cocky, don't get too excited during like a bull market, and don't get too depressed. Don't try to slow down and try to save money on, by firing people and not getting good talent, right? I think like we're just steady, and it's kind of rare to find teams like that. I think that's one of our strengths.
It's about balance, yeah. Okay, I have a few more questions. Okay, I have an interesting one here. Are you guys planning an event for Halloween? Of any kind? I don't know if you can answer that, but
yeah, I definitely we want to do some fun stuff around Halloween. I won't say it's going to be huge or anything like that, but we'll have some some fun ways to activate the community. So I want to do something that hasn't been done before.
Okay, thank you. Great. Okay, craft system. What do you think about the craft system right now? Do you think that it is in its final form, or it is probably going to change for season 2?
Crafting system? I think the crafting system we want to always be balancing and adjusting. I would say that it's probably far from perfect right now.
Okay.
My biggest request though is animation for the crafting. Right? It's gonna be really important. So
maybe an animation for hatching eggs. That would be amazing. Like hatching an egg, maybe in game. That would be awesome.
So if you guys actually check out the old videos from the Axie pre-sale or the 2018, you can find on YouTube like some like hatching animations of the origin Axies, of the Mio Axies, and so I was thinking about that. I was like, yeah, let's get that back. So our team is our animation team is aware that we have some requests like that. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, let's see what happens.
Okay. Expecting that. Okay. Okay, this is an interesting one. Is there any specific plans to introduce dusk, dawn, and mech parts into the game? Maybe a breeding event, maybe some new axes to breed from. What can you share with us about this?
It's something that we're thinking about actually.
Okay.
It's like should we do maybe Mio 3 or should it become through brooding? So it's a discussion that I've had with some people like Vince and Emmanuel. If you guys know Emmanuel, he was just added to the Origins team, so they're thinking about it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, in the stream, we sometimes talk about it. Maybe like a breeding event where if you breed like 2 mechs, you have, I don't know, some genetics probabilities changed, like to get maybe some I don't know how to say it, like recessive genes, new recessive genes just for breeding. So you start introducing these special classes genes through breeding. But yeah, I think there is a lot of way to do this. So we will be also because I think that most people don't realize this, but I think that the game is not gonna be like totally completed until we have like these special classes parts. So I think that
even special class runes, right? Like our special class charms, right? Like they don't have their own charms right now, which is weird. And there's like the potential points. So like there's so many different like levers to pull on, right? It's like tweaking the potential point system, the rune and charm system, level 2 parts, the new parts, and from Sega classes, things like that. So yeah, there's so much awesome stuff that we can add in through these seasons and patches, and it's kind of like expansions, right? Like that we're kind of constantly adding to the game.
Yeah. Okay, so this one, this is the last one that we make. Today we saw that the treasury funds were moved to another contract. I don't know if you can tell us a little bit about that. I don't know if you saw it.
Oh yeah. No, I saw that. It was a security measure. Okay. So it was just a security measure to have it in a multi-sig rather than a smart contract that can maybe like be, it's just safer like that. So.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so I have maybe 1 or 2 more questions. I have one asking about tournaments. Are the tournaments from the esports Grand 3 going to be played in the Axie esports server with all runes and charms unlocked? I don't know if you can answer that or it is not decided yet.
I believe that's the plan, is to use the esports server for that. I think I don't know. That's what they're looking. That's what they want to do, right? Like, I like the idea that we have this esports server that's kind of, it allows more of a equal, like egalitarian, equal playing field, where kind of things are normalized and equalized. I find it interesting that 1437 he won both the season and he won the tournament. Even though like they're kind of different, right? One is like everything is unlocked, and one is like more like you need everything. So that actually shows that Axie has Origins has a lot of esports potential, right? Because if there is no, it shows that it's not random. It shows that it's actually skill based in both systems, right?
Yeah, I think that most of us who played with all unlocked in Axiecon, like discovered that Origins was maybe a different game with all the possibilities unlocked, so that was great, and I think that's the right way to play tournaments also. Okay, I have a question now about the announce of Sky Mavis stake in AXS. Okay, so Sky Mavis announced today, or maybe yesterday, because we wrote this yesterday, that to reinforce their long-term commitment to the Axie ecosystem, they will be staking 11 million AXS. Some people are showing concerns that it was not clarified what will be done with those staking rewards. Will you guys make some kind of commitment, as you have done in the past, by not selling any excess from the Sky Mavis allocation, or will you reserve the right to do whatever you want in the future with those rewards? I don't know if you can answer that.
Yeah, I believe that we are going to be not going to be selling that AXS. It's just going to be, we're just going to be claiming it and restaking it, and for the foreseeable future until, if we have any change on that policy, then we'll let people know. But the idea is like,
great.
Yeah, it would have been, to me, it would have made more sense. Like, okay, we just, Sky Mavis has these AXS tokens, right? Why do we have them? Because it represents ownership of Axie. We own Axie, you guys own Axies, anyone who owns Axis tokens, right? We're all co-owners of the Axie universe. It would have made sense maybe to stake it immediately, but I think it was nice that the community also got this time of, elevated rewards. But now, right, it's like we have to we have to make sure that we are, positioning ourselves long-term to also be aligned and incentivized to work on the Axie project to the best of our abilities, and can kind of afford to do it long term, right? So we also have to think about, how do we make sure that Sky Mavis can, long term have the lights on. So, and we want to participate in the system just as the community members are too.
Okay, thank you for
we are community
clarifying
members.
That. Yeah. He's my dog Felpu.
That's so cute. I don't know if people know this about me, but I love dogs. I love dogs. I don't like cats. Sorry, cat people, but
I am allergic to cats also. Dogs. Yeah,
I'm allergic. Yeah, so that's actually why I side story. When I found CryptoKitties, I was like, if I'm allergic to cats, so this is the only way for me to own cats and play with cats. And I was like, these cats are interesting. These cats are kind of cute. It's a way for me to interact with them in a digital way, rather than being around them physically. So.
Yeah. Well,
what kind of dog is it?
He's I think in English is Puddle. Yeah. He likes to be here with me, sit here and fall asleep. He's like, people in my stream love him, in YouTube as well. So yeah. Also, I don't know if you know, but
his name is Felpu.
Felpu, yeah. In Tactic Cards, the new Builders Program game, the developer made a card of him because he's a community member
I
of my stream.
I saw that on
Twitter.
What do you maybe I'll ask you some questions too. What do you think? How are you feeling about the Builders Program so far? Do you have any favorite games that you love?
I think that I have played a lot of Axie, and I think that I also have met Tio in Axiecon. He was super. He treated me so well. He gave me a lot of merch about Axie, and I enjoyed it a lot. I think the game that I'm waiting the most is Tactic Cards. I don't know. The trailer is just so hyped. I have a box here to play with friends. I am actually gonna play in stream maybe in a few days. But yeah, I think that a lot of games are gonna be great to most people. I think that the key is that you have all these different games to catch all of these different kind of gamers that we have. We have more casual games, more tryhard games, more card games. So I think that everyone is gonna feel representative or represented by one of those games. So yeah, that's what I think of the Builders program.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, it was really fun at Axiecon to get to meet some of the faces behind these projects. I want to like be able to support them even more from using my platform, my microphone to, give them exposure and user feedback. Like, I think that's the awesome thing about, to me, like, games aren't, the way to make a good game is to, right, build in public with actual users. And that's something that's so hard for many game developers to get, because, right, like, yeah, you might be a good game developer, but you might not know how to find community members and find that initial group of testers that are going to give you the feedback to turn like a decent idea into something that could be potentially special. So that's the opportunity that I've been seeing the Builders Program projects really seize, is like, okay, there's this community, right? They want to do stuff related to Axie. And they're going to be very patient because they understand that this is a game built by community members as well. They enjoy the process of playing a very unfinished, very raw product, because those are the expectations of, right, when you're playing a game from the Builders Program. It's not going to be like, I don't know, a game that took 5 years to build, right? Like there are different expectations for different types of games. And yeah, I find that process really intriguing, and I think that it will create some really special dynamics.
Yeah, I also think that it is great that you guys have been supporting these developers, because, for example, League of Legends came from Dota, and Dota was a map in Warcraft 3, so the community is always like making mods or something that improves most of the games. For example, Counter-Strike came from Half-Life also, and that kind of things. And I think that the community is going to build great games, because, I mean, I don't know, like you're playing something and you have an idea, and you thought maybe, I don't know, it would be great to have this game.
Max. Yeah, I think it will unleash it. Like, who knows? Like, maybe I don't want to be so arrogant as to assume that it will happen definitely 100% in the Axie ecosystem. Like, we have to be hungry, and if that's our destiny, like, let's push towards it. But let's not make sure that it's not a given. It's not guaranteed. But I will say that, like, NFT games and this way of aligning incentives with the community, it will create that type of community-built game on another level than we have ever seen before. And I hope that it really reaches that infinite potential through the Axie ecosystem, through things like the Builders Program.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that too. I think that I don't have any more questions. I don't know if you want to talk about anything else, or maybe we can call it.
Yeah, like, it was awesome to be here. Thank you to everybody who watched. Lo siento porque no hablo español muy bien, y estoy hablando inglés. But yeah, hope to get better at my Spanish, and hope to come back, and thanks for watching.
Yeah, your Spanish is great, man. Don't worry. We're gonna have this entire talk subtitled in YouTube, so don't worry about it. And yeah, thank you for joining us today, for coming here and share a little bit of your time. I appreciate it a lot, and I think my community does as well. So yeah, it was great to having you here, man.
Awesome, man. Yeah, thanks for inviting me, and let's do it again soon.
Yeah, sure.
I want a rematch. Like, I'm gonna win next time.
Okay. Okay. We can schedule a rematch maybe next month if you want.
Yeah. That sounds good. Like, maybe we can make this a habit, monthly habit. The compounding meetings always lead to the best results.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Well, yeah. Thank you again, and I hope we can see each other soon.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Blessed.
Thank you.
See you guys later.
See ya.